Cảm ơn cô. Hay được rồi. Khỏe không? Okay, hello everyone. Today we are celebrating, we have a Guan Yin Bodhisattva's Dharma Assembly. So thank you all for coming and join us. We residents of this world, this Saha world, the Buddhists call it Saha world. The scientists call it Milky Way. We have strong affinities with Guan Yin Bodhisattva. It's the Bodhisattva who's right now in concentration in samadhi. In the midst of this samadhi, she is contemplating, listening to all the world sounds. And whoever calls her for help, she will come right away and manifest whatever it takes to help them. As today, we recited this Bumenpin, the Universal Door chapter of the Lotus Sutra, explains more about what Guan Yin Bodhisattva does. And basically, her main job is to cross over living beings. So what she does is to manifest whatever manifestation that's required to help cross over living beings. As we recited this chapter this morning, chapter 25 of the Lotus Sutra, there's a section where she says, if you are a king and you need to be crossed over, she will manifest as a body of a king to talk Dharma, to speak Dharma to you, and to help cross you over. Now, the Chinese word is king body, and the English translation is manifest as a king. So in translation, it conveys the point, the message, but misses out on the accuracy of the process. That is, she manifests a body of a king. Okay? So we're not trying, the bodhisattvas don't try to mislead you. They don't need to come across as a king or as a monk or as a god in order to cross over a monk, to cross over a god. Okay? So that's why the better translation would be to manifest as a body of a king, a body of a god, a body of a boa constrictor, a body of a cockroach, in order to speak Dharma to all the living beings. Why is that? Because it's a lot easier, they're a lot more receptive if you speak the same language as they do. Okay? So that's if you will, the everyday miracles in Buddhism that we don't even brag about. Okay? Every day the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, manifest throughout the universe. We call the Dharma realm. Okay? Whenever conditions ripen, they will manifest whatever it takes in order to speak Dharma to us to help cross us over. Okay? To help liberate us from our suffering. Okay? And that's what this bodhisattva particularly does for living beings in this world, in this higher world. What all it takes is for you to call to her for help. Okay? So this is very important. You need to call out to her. She's sitting there in samadhi, in nirvana, waiting for us to call to her for help. So don't forget to call to her for help. In particular, if during this time of the pandemic, of the COVID-19 pandemic, everyone is so scared. Everyone is so frightened. They're afraid to be infected. They're afraid. We were in San Jose a couple of days ago, and we met with our 101 years old lady who came, and the whole family is so worried about her. They're worried. They're afraid to go anywhere at all. Because they're afraid to bring back the viruses or the bad stuff that will infect her and harm her. Okay, so that's living in fear. Okay, and not just that family, but it's commonplace for a lot of families. In particular, our temple, many of your family members, your children in particular, are afraid that they don't want to let you go out, even come to the temple in particular. Temples are places where a lot of people got infected, understandably. So understandably, they are afraid for you to come to the temple. Okay, they're so fearful for your well-being, for their own well-being. It's unfortunate, but that's the nature of our times. We live in fear. We live in danger. And that's why today's Dharma assembly particularly makes sense. Okay? We are reminding ourselves that in Buddhism, there's a Dharma that you don't even need to be a Buddhist that you can use. You don't need to be a Mahayana believer to believe, to execute this. Even the Hinayana, the Theravadan practitioners can even call on to Guan Yin Bodhisattva to ask for help. So instead of going around, as soon as you leave the house to go to the supermarket and you're so frightened out, your wits, you're afraid you're going to pick up something, okay, and get infected, go there and recite Guan Yin's name. Okay? What does it do? It will help you alleviate your fears. Okay? You're so scared of being infected. Okay? You're just so scared of becoming a carrier. Okay? And bringing it back to your family. So when you recite her name, Guan Yin Bodhisattva's name, just recite Guan Yin Pusa, Guan Yin Pusa, or Namo, the Bodhisattva of great compassion. Whatever language you want to, you are comfortable with, just recite her name. Okay? And what it does is it will alleviate your fears. Okay? There's no need to live in fear. That's exactly what this COVID-19 demon wants to do to you. Okay? To make you live in fear. Okay? You don't have to be a victim. Recite Guan Yin's name, and she will relieve your fear. Okay? And then you look closely in this universal door chapter that we recited this morning. If you recite her name, you actually are providing protection to whoever is in danger, who's ever close to you, who are also in danger with you. You're helping all of them as well. Okay? So, for example, you're supposed to get infected somewhere because you go there, maybe a bar or something, which I don't recommend you go to a bar or a party. Not safe nowadays, except our parties, of course. But you go to those places, chances, very high chances that you will get infected. So go there and recite Guan Yin's name. That's how you will help yourself and help all your party goers avoid getting infected. Isn't that cool? I hope it works. It's funny because people come back to me and say, how come it doesn't work? I mean, I recited, but my neighbor still got infected. My nephew got infected. I said, because your nephew and your neighbor is a bad boy. They get what they deserve. Okay? No, I'm kidding. We do have compassion too. At once I remember a bodhisattva in the flesh here, a human being who was actually a bodhisattva, was riding an airplane, and this is years ago, and the airplane is a big airplane, some kind of Boeing airplane, I remember, and they ran to a big disturbance where the plane was shaking for minutes. Okay, very, very frightening experience. And everyone in the airplane was so frightened, so scared. Okay, and so this gentleman here, who is actually a bodhisattva, he says, "What can I do to help them? They're so scared and they are in danger." So he said, "Well, I don't know much. I'm not really a practicing Buddhist. I'm here for all the businesses. I'm not here to practice Buddhism, okay? I'm too busy to practice Buddhism like you, confused people." So he says, "Oh, I know what? Let me recite Guan Yin." And so he recited, "Guan Yin Bodhisattva, please help. Guan Yin Bodhisattva, please help. Guan Yin Bodhisattva, please help." Okay? And immediately the plane stopped shaking. Immediately. That's because he's a bodhisattva. Okay, there's a difference. This is why we keep on reciting and practicing, doing these Dharma assemblies so that we get better and better reciting her name. And when you come better reciting her name, it works a lot faster, a lot better. All right? Any questions? Anyone would like to share your experiences? Okay, so my message for you today is, first of all, thank you all for coming. And number two, you should be reciting Guan Yin's name more often, in particular during this time of fear, a time of danger to you. It's going to do you wonders. Will keep you from living without fear. Will keep you safe and your family safe and your loved ones safe. Okay? San Jose has a question. San Jose has a lot to learn. You look at their screen and they kind of didn't know what to do when they were standing when they were supposed to be bowing, and they bowing when they were supposed to be standing, and they were standing when they were supposed to be kneeling, and they were confused. Yes, question.
Dạ mô Phật và bạch thầy, tại sao Bồ Tát Quan Thế Âm khi cứu người không phân biệt người đó hiền hay dữ, thiện hay là ác? A Di Đà Phật.
Why doesn't a bodhisattva, when she rescues someone, she doesn't discriminate that the person is good or evil? She rescues them all equally. In particular, I want to emphasize, she rescues non-Buddhists as well, even though we do have a three refuge ceremony this afternoon. Can I interest you in a three refuge ceremony? Huh? Is that right? We have a ceremony at 4 p.m. today. Those of you who want to get a little bit closer to the bodhisattva, so that she remembers more of you, she knows of you, she'll be coming this afternoon too, by the way. We invite her to come here to bear witness, to certify our ceremony, and she does come every single time we ask her, believe it or not. Okay, so far so good. Knock on wood. So anyway, so the question is, how come she does not discriminate, good or bad, and she helps them all? Well, first of all, in order for her to come and help you, she needs to hear your call for help. Yes? That's what it says. It says, Guan Yin bodhisattva. You have to call out to her. Right? That's number one. Yes? You need to remember her. Remember instead of panicking, instead of worrying, you should say, Guan Yin bodhisattva. So substitute in your mind this fear with her name. Okay? When you're scared, make it a reflex response to call out her name. And you find out your fear subsides very quickly. Okay? So you have to call out to her. Right? Number one. Whether she hears you or not, your fear will actually subside. If she hears you, your fear subsides a lot faster. Okay, so that's point number two. She needs to hear you. Okay, you can imagine that Wei Mountain Temple and San Jose Temple are not the only people who call out to her. There are many people who call out to her. You know, Buddhists and very devoted, very faithful believers like us here at Wei Mountain Temple and San Jose Temple. But then also there are people who are Hinayana, there are Theravada, and there are non-Buddhists, and there are skepticals, and there are evil people, there are demons, even demons. You call out to her, and she hears you. Okay, she will help you. Okay. So it takes number one and number two that you're able to call out and she can hear you. So it takes sincerity. Okay? We're not talking about samadhi here. We're not talking about strength. Let me make this point is very important. Here at our temples, we train you and help you build your samadhi power to build your strength. Okay? So that when you do something, you have more strength. You can do more. Okay? You can bear a bigger burden. You can scream louder. You can move mountains more easily. Okay? It requires strength. Okay? That's self-help. Okay? That's why we teach Chan. We've trained you Chan to help you build your personal strength. Okay? But there's also others' help. Meaning that Guan Yin bodhisattva, sometimes we are not strong enough. Okay? We don't have the ability, we are unable to help. That's when in Mahayana, you also have others' help. We call Guan Yin bodhisattva to help. Okay? Yes, for a person that bodhisattva I mentioned, I talked about earlier, he has the strength. He called bodhisattva, the Guan Yin, he said, oh yeah, what do you need? Right away. So he got her attention immediately, instantaneously, right? Because he's strong enough. But for you, who are weaklings, who are non-believers, who are confused, you don't have any power, you don't have any strength. How can you call to her for help? Okay? So what is required from your part is sincerity. Don't have any doubt that she will not come for you just because you're so evil. You know? Yes, she knows you're evil. But she'll come and help you anyway, as long as she can hear of your request, hear of your call of help. And in order to maximize your chances of getting her to know about your request, about your call for help, is you need to be sincere. That's all. It's not about samadhi power. And for most people, it's sincerity. Do you believe? And are you really in dire straits? Especially when you're so terrified. Instead of being terrified, that's a great time for you to call for help. It's a lot easier to be sincere when you are terrified. True or not, I speak from personal experience. Okay? Normally I think too much. I plot too much. I up to something. I'm always up to something. Okay? Always trying to get more out of life, more out of you people, more money, more adoration, more respect, bigger temple. Okay? I admit. But when you're in trouble, all those don't matter anymore, right? So you only have fear left. Can you see that? And then you substitute that one fear in your mind with Guan Yin bodhisattva. That's called sincerity. That's the Buddhist secret. Okay? Does it make sense to you? Sincerity is also called single-mindedness. Some people say, some of you have been with me for 10 years. How come you never told me about this? Because there's no COVID-19 until today. There's no need for you to be sincere until today. Okay? Don't have to be afraid. So you have to be sincere. Now, the question was San Jose. San Jose people, they're not afraid. Look at them. Okay? None of them even frightened at all. It's so sad. I go there every now and then. I look at them and say, how come you're not scared? You know, people come to the Way Mountain Temple, they're scared. You know, they're frightened. But San Jose, they're so relaxed. They say, hey, dude, what's happening? So anyway, don't be afraid. That's my point to you. And no matter who you are, the bodhisattva does not look at you as a bad person or a good person or an evil person or despicable. Okay? She looks at you as a living being who asks for her help. And she knows about it. And that's the key, folks. She needs to know about you asking for help. And that's the nature of the bodhisattvas, the great bodhisattvas. Okay? The smaller level bodhisattvas, mind you, you ask them for help, they say, let me think. What's in it for me? Okay? So they still have to think. Okay? They say, I don't know. I know I'm supposed to help. But you know, I still have more people. I have 20 of them calling for help. Let me choose one. And then the first one, and let me rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time it gets to number 20, that 20 person has drowned already, has got infected already. You see that? So the smaller bodhisattvas, they're slower. Can you see that? I'm challenging you, smaller bodhisattvas as well. Tell me I'm wrong. Raise your hand and tell me, Master YongHua, idiot, Master YongHua, please, let me tell you, you're so wrong. Internet people, tell me I'm wrong. See, smaller bodhisattvas, they process. They have to, say, it's a good person, I better give priority to this good person first. And she's kind of cute, so I'm going to save her first. Okay? But it's the nature of confused people and people who are weak. Okay? Because they only can help 19 people. They can help 20 people at the same time. You see that? But Guan Yin Bodhisattva, she can help 20 people at the same time. She can help 30 people at the same time. She can help 40 people at the same time. Do I hear 50? Yes, 50 people. Do I hear 100? Yes, surely 100. How about 1,000? Oh, no problem. What about 1,000,000? Yes, someone says. What about as many as the sands in the Ganges rivers? Amen, someone said. Hallelujah. Okay? Yes, absolutely. If you like that, why you need to discriminate between good and bad people? Can you see that? We discriminate good and bad because we're limited. Our compassion is limited. Our abilities are limited. Guan Yin is limitless. That's why she can help anyone, anytime, anywhere in this universe. Now you know. So recite her name more often so that she knows more about you. Okay? And put you on the priority list. Just in case. One day when she has a cold, and then he says, I don't know, today I don't feel too good, so I'm going to go back to my priority list. Yes, internet has a question.
Which ground level bodhisattva is considered small bodhisattva?
Small bodhisattva? I don't know. I'm not a bodhisattva, and you ask me about small bodhisattva, and you expect me to make a comment? Oh my God, I'm not that stupid. I may be confused, but not stupid. But on paper, a small bodhisattva is 7th ground bodhisattva down. A small bodhisattva. Okay? They're small. So I ask my master disciples who are enlightened, I say, are you a big bodhisattva or small bodhisattva? Don't think you're so hot. You're so small. Okay? Have no fear, my friends. Hallelujah! Thank you all for coming. We take a short break, we come back and do the lunch offering. Today we have the lengthening life transference, so we need to come back a little bit sooner so that we can get the stuff in, help some COVID victims, maybe. Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, all right. One more question. Okay, before we leave, one last question. In
Master,
green. Yes.
Master, somebody wrote here that when you ask for the small stuff, it's going to use up all our karma credit. Is that true?
Not all of it. Here's what happens. It depends on who you ask. Okay? For example, you ask your mom, Mom, can I have some ice cream? Today, ice cream is wonderful. It's so hot here. It's barely 10 o'clock and it's so hot. We have fans. All the fans are turned on here. It's so sad. Okay? Even when there's no people, they still turn on. That's how hot it is. You reckless people. You don't have to pay for electricity bill. That's why you don't care. I know. But anyway, when you ask your mom, then yes, you're using up your blessings. That's true. Okay? You ask from God, yes, using up your blessings. Absolutely. You ask Vishnu for help, yes, using up your blessings. Absolutely. However, Okay? When you ask an arhat for help, are you using up your blessings or not? Yes or no? Are you? Some people say, these Mahayana people, they're so well trained because they know if they egg me on, I will open my big mouth and start bad mouthing these people. Yes, you are using up partially some of your blessings. Yes, some. Okay. However, if you ask a bodhisattva, are you using up your blessings? Yes or no? People say, oh. Yes? Are you? Yes or no? Give me a yes or no. Yes? Yes or no? No? You're so wrong. Some bodhisattvas, they have a temper. It's you caught them in a bad moment. You know, the wife just yelled at them. And they're not in a good mood. So what do you want? So if they're afflicted, sometimes bodhisattvas do get afflicted. That's why you don't want to ask for help. Bad news, trust me. Because you ask from the bodhisattva, your blessing it just disappears like crazy. Okay? So, but if you ask for help from Guan Yin bodhisattva, do you suffer losses or not? Absolutely not. Okay? You ask help, when you ask help from a bodhisattva, and with all due respect for the small bodhisattvas, I do respect them, okay? You want to make sure you ask the great bodhisattvas. They will never make you suffer losses, okay? Does it help? Okay, that's just my personal strategy, that's all. I first ask, are you small or big? I know you're enlightened, but are you think you're small or big, first of all? They do know they're enlightened, by the way. They do. The bodhisattvas, they know they're enlightened. Of course, they know they're enlightened. But then we need to make sure they're big enough so that before we ask for help. That's what I do. Okay? Thank you. Good question. God, these questions, your questions gets harder and harder and harder. Good thing that I'm prepared. I Googled it last night. Thank you.